Hi. What an exciting crowd. We have a lot of people joining us today. Ryan, Brittany, hello.
Good to see ya.
Today just happens to be my favorite day of the year. I get to prank so many of the best people in my life and totally get away with it. Happy April Fool's Day. If you haven't pranked someone yet, go do it.
I woke up this morning and then go into like the main area of the house, and our interns and everyone, Drew, like you guys, a few of you know, Drew, turned around every single thing in the house, all the furniture, everything. So it was a good one. I forgot about April Fools, so there you go.
There you go. I know I pranked 5 people already, and it was bad. Can you use the chat to tell me about one deal you're working on or looking for in one sentence? It has to be, I'm working on my first fix and flip, or it has to be, I just got my first shopping center or another shopping center under contract. Whatever it is, just go type it in the chat box. I'd love to hear about what you're working on. Kim's looking for a mobile home park. Brittany, know anybody?
Know a few people dealing with those.
Always excited about those first burrs.
Mm-hmm.
What else do people have going on? Lots of burrs. I see a fourplex. Good for you guys. This is exciting. Townhomes in Fort Lauderdale, Cameron. It's exciting. A medical building burr. Like, I'd want to hear about that.
Any Canadians here? We did one yesterday and there's tons. Oh, there's one. Edmund. Woohoo.
Yes, Shiraz is Canadian.
Yeah.
All right. I was just finishing up an email, but I'm on now, guys. Sorry for being late.
Hey, Ryan. Ryan's in the house.
Yeah, we got people living out of vans. We got people house hacking. What else we got? We got some people trying to burr. Heard you guys talking about Canada. I played in Winnipeg, Canada in 2014. That was fun.
I didn't know that. Cool.
Yeah. And then 2010, I played in Vancouver. So that was also cool.
Oh, nice.
Vancouver's cool.
Yeah. Winterpeg. Doug knows what it's called. That place is cold, man.
What's the coldest temperature you've experienced, Ryan?
Nothing like you.
I mean, Ryan's in Vegas, for those of you.
I don't know if I've ever been like past 20, to be honest.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Well, in Saskatchewan recently, it was minus 60. So if anyone could just imagine how that feels. I'm like, that's why I'm in Maui. I'm probably not going home.
Okay, we have a lot of people still, but we're just going to get started because we're a pretty large crowd. Okay, so I'm your host, Lekha Devta. I'm in the Seattle area and have been a real estate investor for a while now. I started doing single family flips a few years ago, and now I'm focused on building my own passive income portfolio and also pivoting to commercial real estate. Brittany knows what's up. So this is a large crowd. Pretty sure you all came to see me, and my superstar, rock star speakers had nothing to do with it. Or rather, that's the narrative we're going with. It's not funny, Ryan.
Perception is reality.
That's right? My perception. I couldn't be prouder of my 2 guests today. They are alike in that they're both social media sensations, but their paths could not be more different on how they got here. Brittany, Investor Girl Britt, is our little DIY queen. She does everything herself, buying, rehabbing, renting. On the other hand, Ryan, from the very first day that I met him, said that he believed in the power of building a team, outsourcing everything that he doesn't want to do. I'd love to dig into kind of why they each pick their paths and kind of understand that mindset. Britt, Ryan, welcome. It's my absolute pleasure to have both of you on here today. Can you share your IG handles with our crowd so they can start following you if they aren't already?
Yeah, I'll type mine in. Ryan Pineda Show.
Yeah, I'll type mine too. I'm Investor Girl Britt. That's me.
Okay, so we're going to do something different today. I'd love for everyone to screenshot this meetup take a picture on your phone, screenshot it, whatever it is, and share it on your favorite social media platform. Feel free to tag me, the speakers, the friends that you brought on here, the friends that should have been here, and also hashtag real estate at work. A lot of people ask me after these events how they could have joined, and I guess we don't do a very good job marketing ourselves. And we do have a pretty fantastic speaker lineup. Our next guest is Thatch Wynn. And if you don't follow Thatch on Instagram, he will blow your mind. And then in June, we have the one and only Brandon Turner. And I'm going to put him in the hot seat and we're going to dig deep. We're going to talk about his investing career, podcasting, his favorite guests. So make sure to tune into that. And also join our meetup page for all the deets. Nee, if you want to put a link, that would be great. So coming back to today's speakers, both of their IG pages are super intentional and the content they put out is inspiring. And I know that it takes work. And I know it takes me a minute to create some content and they do it on the fly. And kudos to them. So before we get started, I want to share their pages just so you can get better acquainted with them. This is just one of Brittany's videos. She probably took her a minute to make it.
Minutes.
Britt, that was fantastic.
Don't steal mine after that.
How do you do that?
Mine's going to look so bad now.
No, but Ryan's content, is so, it's like the education I never thought I was going to get on Instagram. Okay, here we go.
It's reported that LeBron James spends over $1 million a year on his body. This includes chefs, trainers, masseuses, everything you could imagine. But is it worth it? Well, in 2019, Forbes said he made a combined $92 million. His salary has only gone up since then, so he's probably over $100 million a year. That means he got 100x return on his investment. And so if LeBron is willing to invest that much in himself, what kind of investment have you been making in yourself? It's reported that LeBron James...
There's the mic drop.
That's the mic drop.
Yeah.
As you can see, super different content, but super awesome, inspiring for me. And just a lot of people, I've been talking to a lot of people about these too. And it's amazing what your pages have done to people across the industry. So congratulations. It's pretty amazing. I want to start with Britt. So Britt and I have a funny story. Literally 5 minutes after I met Britt, we were holding hands and snorkeling in the Pacific Ocean. Ryan was there too. Britt, how did a girl from Saskatoon, Canada, end up becoming an Instagram real estate icon?
Well, it is funny because, starting out, and I really had no idea kind of what I was doing. And the Instagram page and everything, it takes a long time to build that up. But it is all about the credibility. And I had a mortgage broker tell me that once, you have to start, if you're just new, I had 3 properties at the time, something like that. And he's like, you have to start building some credibility. And eventually you're not going to be able to get financing. You're going to have to get partners. And if you want to grow as a real estate investor, you need a network, and it's all about that. So I started a blog where I don't know, I'm not the best with writing, and I didn't really enjoy it that much. It took me forever, and then kind of released a few blog articles, and And then I kind of turned to Instagram because I really like the photos, the videos, and everything. But I'm just saying to everyone here, because maybe you're just starting out in this, it takes a long time to kind of like find your groove and find your niche. Like for me, mine was called Little Investments on the Prairies. And that was like my Instagram handle and my blog, because I was buying these like $25,000 rental properties and then trying to like renovate them myself, taking photos, videos, and everything. So started out like that. And then it grew like from there, 4 years being a full-time real estate investor and just continuously posting this stuff online and kind of like, I don't know, it's so different from where you started to where 4 years looking back at where kind of even with social media I was at, but I found my groove. And then, you know, through that became this huge network. So I got on bigger pockets through my Instagram page and I met Brandon Turner, and that led to the Maui Mastermind with Leica and Ryan and all these people. So it was just kind of amazing what social media could really do for you.
Yeah, no kidding. Ryan, you used to be a pro baseball player and now you're an entrepreneur, and your income streams include Amazon stores, CPA company, brokerages, YouTube, AdSense, like what? And most importantly, I think what you're focused on now is education. You also have 1 million followers across various social media channels. I mean, that's incredible. Can you walk us through that journey?
Yeah. So, I never thought I was going to be an entrepreneur or a business guy. I was really just focused on baseball my whole life, really. It's only been the last, I would say, like 5 years that I've been truly focused on being a business owner and entrepreneur. And it's really only been about a year since I truly started focusing on social media because the light bulb finally switched. And what's funny is, when I first started getting into real estate investing, this was around 2015. I had a mentor tell me, they're like, you need to start posting on social media because it's going to help your business just showing other people what you're doing. I'm over here thinking in my head, and I'm like, how's this going to help my business? Like, it's going to take time away from it. I'm giving away all my secrets, like all this stuff. And he's like, dude, just start telling people what you're doing. I was like, all right. So I start posting in 2016, just very lightly. I was just getting my iPhone, just doing videos and nothing crazy. And around 2017, 2018, start to build a little bit of a following, like nothing insane. And I remember I was actually, we were all at the mastermind. This was in the middle of 2019.
Right.
I think in my breakout, the thing, it might've been you, Britt. You were like, hey, you should take social media even more serious. Like you should just go all in at that. Was it you who said that? I think it was.
I think she was the only one that even had an Instagram page at that meetup.
Yeah. She told me, she basically was like, your stuff is good. You just need to like go even harder at it. And I was like, all right. And I remember I hired a videographer after that. This was the end of 2019. Started making some good videos, but still didn't like take it super serious. I was just like, throw it on Facebook, throw it on YouTube, Instagram, whatever. But, that started kind of the journey of like, all right, like, let's just try and take this a little more serious, put some effort into it. And then in when we got locked down last year in March, I'm sitting there at home and I'm like, what am I going to do with myself? Like, I'm so bored and I can't do anything. So wonder what's going on in the world. And I'm like, man, and back then people were like, not sure what was going to happen with real estate. Right. So I'm like, okay, if real estate flops, what am I going to do? So I ended up started watching YouTube and stuff. And I started to see like what these YouTubers were making. And I was like, this is like crazy. These guys make more money than me talking to the camera, taking no risk or anything. They just got to deal with people in the comments section. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to just try this out. And so, I started a YouTube channel. I started doing weird stuff on TikTok, and man, the rest is history. It was the smartest thing I ever did. And it's just a year later, it's insane the amount of things that have happened since.
That's amazing. A lot of people reach out to me and ask me how they can get started with no money, no experience, and really no street cred. Ryan, what's your advice for these people?
Okay, so assuming you're just starting out, you don't have a lot of stuff, I always say you should definitely document the journey. You know, it doesn't matter. A lot of people are like, hey, I need to know so much. I need to be the expert. And it's like, no, you don't. Like, just literally show people what you're doing, and people are going to relate to that. In fact, if you're more relatable, you're going to have a lot more followers. It's tough sometimes having too much success is a bad thing, because they can't relate. But if you're just doing your first flip or whatever, people are like, oh man, if freaking Johnny can do a flip, I can do a flip, you know? So I think just start showcasing what you're doing. Even if you haven't bought anything yet, just start documenting the journey. But as far as like getting started, once again, I think social media goes hand in hand. Like, you could literally find everything you need on social media right now if you want to get started. Like, you know, you need the money. Literally, how many people? We got 132 people. Someone in this room has the money. And I bet you at least like half the room has the money to partner with you on a deal. Seriously, right now. If you got the money, you can comment right now. If you're looking for a deal to put money towards, guarantee it. And if you have, you know, a deal, it's very easy to go, you know, find the money. I always tell our students that all the time. The deal is the hard part. The money is like easy. I mean, in fact, the government just printed what, $3 trillion? Like, the money's out there. So yeah, I just think getting around other people in the industry is going to help you out. You don't need any experience, because somebody else, you just got to make sure you provide some type of value, whether it be finding the deal, whether it be maybe you do have money but no experience, you know, then all right, I'm bringing the money to the table, you bring the deal. So
yeah, I don't people get super fixated on where the money is going to come from. I was looking for a self-storage deal last year, and I was talking to AJ Osborne, my friend, and he said, look, don't worry about the money. The financing is the easy part. Finding the deal is much harder. If you can find a deal, like, I'll finance it. And I was like, oh, cool. You know, so I think that's the hard part, is going out, especially in such a hot market where HGTV is real. And like, you know, there's so many meetups and so many resources, like bigger pockets out there. Everybody wants to invest in real estate. So like, what are you doing to stand out? And what are you doing to make your dreams come true? Going into that, like, Britt, you own 27 doors, you're 28 years old. How did you come to do that?
Well, I think it is kind of funny, because I think a lot of people do get overwhelmed because there's so much information. There's all the podcasts and everything, but just being committed to, I didn't know all the answers, but I knew that I wanted to be a successful real estate investor. So I was committed to the process of just being able to figure that out. And I didn't have all the answers, and I kind of just figured it out as I went along, and just not getting too wrapped up in the details. Because I hear a lot of people where they message me on Instagram, they're like, oh, I'm trying to pick out paint colors for my rental property that I haven't bought yet. And I'm like, don't even worry. Like, don't think about that. Just like, think about the most important next step. So it's like, write it down every day, your goals, like, just move forward every day. And I think that helped me, because like, I didn't have bigger pockets when I started. Like, I didn't even know what I was doing. I was like, I had money that I came into from when I was a kid. And this is kind of a really weird story, but I got bad food poisoning when I was a little kid at this big Christmas party. And everyone who got really sick got an insurance payout. So I had $15,000 sitting in an account. So when I turned 18, I bought a rental property with it. So that's kind of how I got my first deal. And it ended up being like a pretty good one. And the tenant, so it was a $25,000 property. Tenant paid $850 a month rent. So it was a solid deal. I still own it, actually. But, you know, it's kind of interesting looking back to that first deal and kind of not knowing what I was doing. And then it was great, because I mean, it was a successful deal, and then moving forward from that, I was like, I need to do more of this, but I wasn't so wrapped up in all this information that's out there nowadays. You know, I just like did my best at moving forward from there. And I was so committed to becoming a successful real estate investor. I thought at the time I had to get this high paying job, and that was the only way I was going to be able to afford like more mortgages and everything. But, you know, like Ryan is saying, and Leica, there's so much money out there too. So I decided to quit my job like 6 months in and jump into real estate full time, because I'm like, I'm going to find a way to make this work. I was just so committed to making it work that the answers came as I went along.
We were talking about that one deal that you once did. Can you like walk us through a deal and what are those numbers looking like?
Well, it's a lot different now. Like when I started, I kind of was just doing whatever I could to move forward, which was I didn't have a lot of money. So it was kind of going out of the city that I was in, looking at the smaller towns and areas. Because like the rent, there's so much industry in the smaller centers, and there's so many people looking for good places to rent. And in the cities, the price points were way higher. So I'm like, what can I do with like this smaller amount of money in order to move forward? So I'd go out of my main city and kind of go into the smaller areas and go live in the renovations, do all the work myself. And that's all I really knew how to do. I'm like, all right, I can learn how to do this work on YouTube. Like I can ask questions and learn from like different tradespeople. So it was having not a lot of money that kind of drove that decision. So like I'd buy houses for $25,000, $30,000.
Yeah.
But one example, I guess, if I was going to give numbers, it was bought for $42,000, put like $30,000 into it. So it's a pretty big renovation.
Oh, and this is a family home?
Yeah, single family home, this one. So started out with mostly single family homes.
Okay.
And then it was valued after the renovation at $130,000. So able to burr that, take that money out, put it into a new single family house. And then like the cash flow is just really, really great in these smaller areas. So it was just kind of like, what can I do to move the business forward? And that was using the burr strategy to like take that money out, put it into a new place, and cash flow is great.
That is amazing. That $132K is the average price point of just my rehabs in my area.
Yeah, it's a lot different.
Ryan, you have 11 streams of income. Can you walk us through those? Which one's your favorite even? I'm curious.
I'd have to go watch my own video again. So that's a good question. I mean, for me, fix and flip has always been my bread and butter for the last, 6 years. And it's funny, once you go down this path of social media and digital, just these other ones just start going crazy because that's what people want to know. They want to learn from you. They want to invest with you. They want, other services. People start, paying you for sponsors and brand deals and stuff. We just posted one on TikTok today, like PayPal paid me to do a TikTok for them. Like it's crazy, like the things that happen, but, education for sure is the biggest one, at this point, and it just continues to grow month over month. And, it's exciting. I love education for multiple reasons. I mean, number one, you get to change the most lives by doing that. At the end of the day, when I fix and flip a house, it's great. Like, we make money, our employees are good, but, you're not like impacting that much. But like, teaching somebody something valuable can impact them in a crazy way. So education for sure. But, I think these other ones are about to be also really good. We're starting a fund right now for investors. And so, we're getting ready to launch that and buy some really big commercial buildings and stuff. So that might overtake education again.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear more, and we'll get to that in a bit. But both of you have had very different paths of getting where you are. Britt, you just believe in doing it all yourself. What is the mindset behind that? I know it also brings you a lot of joy. Like you're so good at that. I can't hang a nail to a wall. So I'd love to hear, your story.
Well, I think like my mindset has definitely changed on that a little bit. Like I started out that way and now I'm like, I'm retired. I'm done. I'm like, 6 months ago, I was just like, I couldn't handle, because there's so much I want to do. And it didn't make sense. Like that's how I grew my portfolio, because I'm like very blue collar. I was like, all right, I have trades background, So that's kind of where I started. And so I think I didn't know the business side of it. I wasn't a business person. I didn't go to university for that. So I just didn't know what else to do. So I just would do everything myself because that was kind of like the next steps in order to move forward. But I think now this is why I'm starting to build out a team. And even with my social media, if I want to reach more people, and the deals I want to do are much larger deals now, it's not necessarily the small single family stuff. So, I mean, it's the best way. I'm so happy I started that way. And it was like amazing education for myself because I would learn, listen to my podcast, learn so much as I was doing renovations myself. And then I built this huge platform. But then it gets to a point where I had to kind of take that next step in scaling because you can't scale if you're doing everything yourself. So I'm glad I started out like that because I learned so many lessons and it was like incredible because I met so many people and now I have this awesome network. But now it's to the point where I do want to scale into bigger commercial stuff. And at a certain point, you just can't do everything yourself anymore. So kind of taking it to the next level is where I'm at now.
But it is it's what you did that led you to now live in Maui and live this lifestyle.
I know. So it's kind of crazy to think about that, but.
Right. Ryan, at what point in your real estate career did you start to outsource?
From the beginning, I outsourced construction. Britt has done more in one day construction-wise than I've done in my whole life. And
right.
I'm not kidding you. So I literally don't know how to do really anything as far as construction goes. When I get like something to build from IKEA or something, like every time I do it, it says it should take like an hour or two and it takes like 6. And I'm like, dude, why did I do that? So yeah, I just from the beginning, I knew I never wanted to do work myself. And so I always hired, contractors to do the stuff for me on that front. But I was always the one doing the rest. I was finding the deals. I was talking to sellers, to agents. I was a realtor, so I was listing my properties. So I did, everything on the money and business side, and then operations stuff. I always delegated. But as things grew, I realized that, hey, in order to scale and do a lot, you literally just have to hire people. That's what it comes down to. And so it was just a process of continuing to hire people and hire. And then, you get to a point where you realize, oh man, like now I need management. I need managers above these people now because we're growing and people need to be held accountable. I can't hold everyone accountable. So it's this like evolution that you just keep experiencing as you grow on the organizational side. So yeah, now it's different. Anytime I start a new company or a new thing, we understand from the beginning, like, hey, okay, here's the org chart, who's responsible for what, who's managing this person, who's holding them accountable, what's his role. And it makes things way easier as you just keep adding things.
I'm curious, you still do 100 flips a year?
Yep. Flips and wholesales.
That is crazy. Okay, so let's talk social media, you guys. Britt, what is the single most best thing to come out of your social media presence?
I think, just my network of people. Like I'm living in Maui and it's kind of insane when I think about that. It was funny. I just sent Brandon Turner a video actually because he gave me a shout out right when I was first starting in social media and everything. I probably had like a few thousand followers and gave me a shout out. And so I'm on there like, what? This is insane. I can't believe. But I would just always be tagging them and stuff and listening to the podcast and, shouting out David at Brandon's books because they were people who inspired me and who I wanted to be like. So I'd be constantly like, hey, look at me, look at what I'm doing. Like I'm trying here. So I think and then it's at the point now where all these people I looked up to so much and now they're my great friends. And it's kind of insane, just like the power of that network and kind of putting yourself out there, but providing value to people first. Like I was never asking for anything. I was just trying my best to provide value in any way that I could. So, through social media is shouting out the podcast, shouting out the books, trying to promote stuff before, So I think, that's definitely been huge for me. And then it's everything. It's deals coming through. like an insane amount. I started posting about these larger commercial deals that I'm working with expert operators in the industry now. So I started posting about these like large triple net deals and saying like anyone interested in investing in these deals, like with Matt Onofrio. I don't know if he's here today, but anyway, I've been working with him on that. So I started posting on social media, see what came out of it, see what my audience kind of wanted. And now
and what happened?
Now in my CRM, I have close to 80 million in investor liquidity. So ready to like start putting that to use in these bigger deals. But that's the power of social media. I never would have expected to be able to have like this opportunity, but it's just like, that's how powerful it is. So that's something to always keep in mind, you guys.
Okay, I just want to take it back there for a second and spotlight that. Britt posted 4 stories on Instagram and was able to place $80 million just from the people that follow her. I mean, that is crazy talk because it takes people more than a lifetime and a 100% team to get there if they're lucky. So, I mean, obviously she's credible. Obviously she's put in the work. So I would not discount social media at all because that's a huge lesson right there. Ryan, what about you?
Yeah. So, man, it's hard to, quantify all the different opportunities because it's like every business we started is because of social media. But just within the last year, the people that I've gotten to meet, other investors, other influencers, they've just really impacted my business big time. I signed a deal with Forbes to do like their first ever college course for flipping houses and stuff. So, to be able to be aligned with them on a lot of the stuff I'm going to be doing going forward is pretty crazy. And, it wouldn't have been, I am by no means the best flipper out there, right? So Forbes could have got, any guy. But just because of social media, that was why they reached out to me, because I was just the most active guy or the most visible, whatever. So, that was a huge one. And I think there's a lot of other big opportunities in the pipeline that are going to be happening. So, man, it's just countless doors for sure.
And Ryan also gets cool gifts, like from YouTube, a skateboard from TikTok.
Yeah, they always send me cool stuff.
No kidding. In speaking with the both of you, I realized that you're both on the verge of scaling up your businesses by creating your real estate funds. Ryan, can you describe to our audience what a fund even is?
Yeah, so we're in the process of finalizing our fund, but essentially we are just going to be syndicating money from accredited investors, and we're going to be doing everything for them. A completely passive investment for them. And we're going to go out and buy a bunch of big real estate deals. Hopefully we go and get some really good undervalued stuff and, get all the benefits of cash flow and appreciation and, equity. But on top of that, all the tax benefits with depreciation and all these things. That, for me anyways, the biggest opportunity for the fund is all of the tax benefits. I think a lot of, wealthy people don't have a way to invest themselves and get depreciation. They just don't have time to go find deals. So to be able to just go invest in a fund and capture that is a really big deal. So I'm excited to be able to offer that to other people. And up to this point, we haven't really needed much money for what we're doing. We've already raised enough for, my fix and flip operation, and that's been great. But there's this big pool of people that, would love to get in on our deals. So it's going to be exciting to get them all together.
That is so cool. You're also providing a good solution for people that need it, the people that can't directly invest in real estate. Britt, you have some really exciting opportunities. What are you looking to do, and who are you looking to partner with?
Yeah, well, that's just something I realized. Like, I'm not I have been in operations for so long, like with renovations and buying the properties and doing everything myself. But now, just with the operators I do know who are just incredible at what they do. And I realize how many people are out there wanting to invest so badly in real estate, but they don't exactly have the time, or maybe they do have the money, but they don't have the time to like put in the education and put in all that work. So that's kind of where I decided it made a lot of sense, because I have all these friends now, like AJ Osborne is one, Ashley Wilson. So AJ does the self-storage. He's incredible at that. So I would put my money with AJ and take my audience and be able to like invest with these expert operators. And right now, the deals I'm working on with Matt are the larger triple net investments. So that's kind of where I've been, just helping people get into these larger deals where it would be really difficult for them to do on their own. Sorry, my mouth is so
what are these larger triple net deals?
Yeah, so there's a few options. Like, he has such a good deal flow coming in right now. There's more deals coming in, like that he wants to place into individual investors with these deals. So I mean, there's so much opportunity for that. And like Ryan was saying, with depreciation, the tax benefits and everything, but he has so many great connections, like with the lenders and everything, and the returns are great. So it's just finding those investors. And now I realize the potential with my audience and how many people are going to benefit from getting in on these larger triple net deals. And the cool thing is it's so passive. And I wouldn't have known, like, it's crazy when you start to kind of scale up and realize the opportunity you have. And really, it's not that much more work to get these big deals under contract. It's the same as a smaller single family house. So that's been huge for me to kind of see and experience the last 6 months. So yeah.
That's amazing. Ryan, can you talk a little bit, because there's so many newer investors here, like, can you talk a little bit about the education that you're putting together?
Yeah, so we've been really growing out the education for the last year and a half. So originally it started out with just, one course on how to flip and wholesale houses, and that was it. And then we started a coaching program for more advanced investors. And, that was a year-long it is a year-long mentorship where, we get on Zooms every day. They get an accountability coach. We have quarterly masterminds here at my office, and then they get all of our organizational documents and processes and everything like that. Just everything we've used to grow our business, and kind of teach the same things and principles that we do today. So, those were the main two things, but then it has evolved into far more as we've gone along. Now we have a program, our rookie program for new investors. So it's more just like, hey, let's teach you the fundamentals. Let's teach you how to comp properties and, estimate repairs and all the fundamentals. And then, we've added a bunch of other things like workshops at the office. Now that COVID's kind of finally clearing up, we're going to hold a huge event. There's a whole bunch of things we do now. So it's pretty cool.
So, you guys are just so inspiring, and I'm really excited that everybody here got to hear from you and, hear about your amazing journey, because it takes a village and it takes a lot of hard work, and you guys put in the work. But I want to know, if our audience wanted to get involved in your funds or your education, what is the best way for them to connect with you? Britt, you can go first.
My website, BrittanyArnason.com, and I'll type it in here, but it's I took my screen off. BRITTANY, and my last name, ARNASON.com.
And Ryan, what about you?
Yeah, so there's obviously a bunch of different companies. So I put it in there for the education side, futureflipper.com. And, John just asked, how do you sign up for the rookie program for new investors? If you just go on there, you'll see the rookie program, and you can just sign up directly there, and our team will get you onboarded. But as far as the fund goes, which somebody was just asking about, if you go to pinedacapital.com, it will lead you there for the early wait list. But you got to be an accredited investor to qualify for that.
Awesome. And you guys can just Google what it means to be an accredited investor, and you should have a form that can show you easily what that means. We're going to take some questions from the audience. So please feel free to type them in. So I did see one. So Nala did ask, what tips would you give to newbie investors looking for undervalued homes in today's market, especially with the halts in foreclosure and in most areas? Ryan?
Yeah, so man, finding deals right now is harder than ever. I mean, just because there's no inventory on the MLS. These people who would have normally got foreclosed on and who would have been motivated to sell faster are not motivated because they're not getting foreclosed on. So right. there's this bottleneck of properties, and that's kind of what's causing the market to just go crazy because there's just no inventory. And then the government is printing money and lowering interest rates. It's the literal perfect storm to cause crazy prices. But all that being said, there are definitely still deals out there. We are still getting deals. And we're making more money on those deals. I would say it's a weird time. It's like we'll probably do less deals this year just because the deals are harder to come by, but we might make more money just because when we go to sell, it's like it's crazy what people are paying for them. But I would say our number one way of getting deals right now, if I was, we do TV commercials, we do cold calling, we do text messaging. Those are our main three sources. I wouldn't say people should just go run TV commercials because they're probably going to fail at it. It takes a lot of money and hard work. But I would say if you're just getting started, I would just pull a list and just cold call them. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a volume game. The more people you talk to, the more chance you have to get a deal. I don't think there's this secret list that is so much better than everything else. I think if you just hit volume, you'll catch people that, want to sell quick.
Got it. Deep asked a very interesting question. What attracts audience on social media? Give us your top three. Britt.
I think for me, it's just been sharing. Like Ryan says, it doesn't have to be like, you don't have to know what you're doing and have it all figured out. It's like share the whole process and be genuine and authentic with it. I started and I had no idea what I was doing, but I just knew that there was going to be power in having an audience. So I'd share everything. So that was behind the scenes of my DIY work, when things went wrong, when things were going right, like everything. Now I'm in Maui. I'm like sharing about my days here. So it's just kind of putting yourself out there and not being kind of afraid of it. Just be consistent with it.
Doug Peters asks, what if you don't have a $1 million net worth and not accredited? How can you scale up?
If you're not accredited, I mean, you can do your own deals still. It's just you can't invest in the fund. I mean, obviously, when you're building your wealth, you're not accredited until you do. But there's definitely nothing that can stop. I mean, most people are negative net worth, when they're trying to get started and stuff. So, yeah, that not being an accredited investor doesn't mean much.
Yep. Violet G says, how do you get started, basically? And I would say to that, there's so much information online. Get started, by listening to podcasts, coming to networking events, reaching out to people that you meet at these networking events. We're going to go into breakout rooms soon. You're going to meet a bunch of people. Some people are going to have money. Some people are going to have deals. Others will have a way to grow your social media. So be consistent and take action every single day is what I would say to you.
Yeah, the one thing I'll say too about that, and this is something that I've had to learn over time, is I learned back in 2015 by listening to Bigger Pockets and, just figuring things out on my own. But the moment I just started paying and just finding the right person to tell me what to do, I don't do anything else anymore. If I go into a new industry or a new thing, like social media, for example, I'm not going to try and figure out social media on my own. In fact, I didn't. A year ago when I wanted to do it, I just went and, sought out the best social media people I knew, and then either paid them or gave them value in some type of way. So they would tell me exactly the right way to do it. Because you could spend a year or two, however long, like trying to learn for free and figure it out on your own. But man, I mean, for me at this point, I just realized that time is like the only limited constraint we have, in this world. So if I can pay to gain the time of trying to figure it out myself, it's not even a question. So I'm kind of on the pushback from hey, like there's all these free resources and all this stuff. I'm like, dude, just pay the person who you truly believe can help you get to the next level.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. When I first started, I did a course with Fortune Builders, and it was a really expensive course, but it gave me also at the same time a good foundation for all the different investment strategies out there. And if it wasn't for that course, I don't think I would have scaled up as much as I did, as quickly as I did. So go find those too. Join Ryan's program. Masha has a great question. Should I keep my pages strictly professional, or should I be sharing my life too? Like workouts, trips? Britt, what do you think?
Yeah, I share everything for the most part. Like some days it's hard because I just don't feel like it, but I try to post something every day. And, whether that's being in Maui or doing a renovation, because at the end of the day, people want to know you. They want to see like what your real life is. They don't necessarily need to see all the highlight reels of doing these big deals, but a little behind the scenes. I post a lot about my running because that kind of ties into my whole investment and having routines and all that sort of stuff. So share as much as you can because people want to get to know you, and that builds like the trust and the likability and credibility, everything along with it.
Yeah. So are there legal restrictions to cold calling, like no call list limitations?
Yeah, I mean, you got to be careful. There's just really gray area with literally all forms of marketing at this point, texting, cold calling. So, I mean, it's just be careful. One piece of advice I'll give everyone, if you are cold calling, there are people who are just litigators, they're looking for people to litigate. So we never use our real names or anything if we're cold calling, just because of that issue.
Yeah. Is it realistic to start flipping with no capital out of pocket using other people's money?
Yep. You got 124 people right here. You got the right deal.
Right.
If you got a deal that's, worth 500,000 and you got it in contract for 350, I will fund your deal.
There we go, you guys.
You got the right deal. You don't need any money.
Yeah. Okay. This is another good question. Shiraz asks, what is the best way to document your flip?
Yeah, if you're documenting your flip, I think you're going to go there, every week anyway. So documenting the whole thing, like, all right, this is demo day. This is putting in the kitchen, and then if you're like Britt, you could do a time lapse and do the whole thing yourself, and it'll be a really cool video.
Well, what's cool about it too, like I was just talking to one of the roommates here about this, because if you start documenting, I'm using footage now from 4 years ago, right? And I can use that continually. And I'm taking like that concrete video you guys saw earlier. I now cut that down into reels. So like the more I have like 40,000 photos and videos on my phone that I can keep using. So, and now with different platforms and everything, I have all these YouTube videos and I didn't know what I was doing with it, right? I was just like, I think this is going to be important, so I'm going to record it. And now I'm like so thankful that I did that, because it's allowed me to really come across opportunities I never really thought possible at the time. But so yeah, just start now.
Yeah. And Brittany once told me, how many videos do you have?
Yeah, like I think it's like close to 40,000 now.
Oh my God. That is amazing. That's a lot of content.
Yeah, it is. And you could use that forever. So just
Don Spafford asks, what social media outlets, with all of the social media outlets available, what is the best one to get started on? Ryan?
I think honestly, TikTok, Instagram is very hard to grow at. It's just, that's the way it is. But with TikTok, you get a lot of things. You can still go viral on TikTok, even without a following, which is huge. And then you can use your TikToks on Instagram for Instagram Reels. So you get double the purpose out of it. So, and I also believe that people are consuming TikTok type content more than any other content, so that would be the one that, I would be focusing on and mastering.
Yep. Can you recommend programs that are really good at building your social media? Someone's asking if you use Active Campaign or some other digital marketing program.
So 2 different questions. I use actually, we're just now switching to Active Campaign for all of our email marketing. So I've heard a lot of good things about it. As far as learning social media, I actually have a course for that too. I'll link to it down here if people want to learn about it. But I just pretty much took everything that I've learned over the years with all the different platforms and building out a content team and studio and all that stuff. And, you don't need all this stuff that I have, but how to start, even if you just have, your phone. That's all you really need.
Britt, anything else that you want to add?
Well, yeah, I think starting out, like, you don't have to have a lot. I've only ever had my phone, and I edit and do all my videos myself, which I'm building out a team now because I just don't have the time to do everything myself anymore. But, when you are starting, you are able to just use your phone. I just put my time lapse on and went from there. So it doesn't have to be anything like super fancy. Hopefully, eventually you could get to the point where Ryan's at, where you just have like everything dialed in and your whole studio, and it's amazing. But if you're just starting out, like he said, you just need your phone. And I'm sure that course is amazing for that. And I have done courses on YouTube and everything. So there's so much information out there to help you get started. But just starting is the most important thing.
Right. And I think that ties into our next question too. Joy asks, like, is there a balance between doing everything yourself first when you first get started or is it better to just go out and hire people right off the bat? What do you guys think? I know you guys are you each have your own different story, but what do you think?
I think it probably depends. For me, it was my background. So I had a little bit of a background in trades and all that, right? And I did enjoy it, and it helped me build my following and everything. So I think getting started in that way was great. But if you hate the work and it's like stressful for you, and I'm not saying I was, I knew what I was doing with all the trades work and everything right off the bat, but it was a great way for me to get started, saved a ton of money, was able to invest more into more properties that way. But if you can, like, maybe just start out with something small, like start with a tiling project, something like that, something small. And then maybe if you can hire out. And it just depends what your end goals are too. You have to really be thinking about that. Do you want to scale? Because it's hard to scale when you're doing everything yourself.
So true. Ryan, anything to add?
Yeah, you guys know I'm all about delegating. So, but that being said, I think you do need to learn. You got to do stuff on your own starting out. Maybe not actually fixing the houses, because I didn't do that. But even then, like, I kind of wish I did, because then I would actually appreciate it and understand it better. But I've almost done everything I've ever hired out for the most part. But it just helps you be able to teach it and delegate it better later on. But one of the big mistakes I made, though, and this is something you got to watch out for, and it's actually a big problem for people who have money. It's trying to just delegate right out the gate and not knowing like anything about the person you need and all that stuff. So I tried to do this with social media a couple years back. I'm like, hey, I got money, like, just run my social media for me, like, blow me up. And it doesn't work like that. You actually have to like do it yourself and learn how to make content, what works good. You just, there's no other substitute for it. You have to do it. And I see it now because a lot of, people ask me for advice, or, they want me to consult them or whatever. And they're like, who should I hire? Who should I hire? I'm like, there's literally no one you can hire. Like, you're the talent on camera. You just have to do it. So,
right.
Yeah, that's something too to keep in mind. There are some things that just can't be delegated.
Yeah. So I'm going to go to a question that Charles asked, which is super interesting. What companies do you think are best to help with marketing? Ryan?
So if we're talking about social media or house flipping, I mean, as far as house flipping marketing, I mean, we do everything in house. Once again, like we are, hiring our own VAs for cold calling. We are managing, our budgets. We're texting campaigns, all this stuff. I mean, like we have a bunch of softwares. We have a bunch of, ways we hire people and stuff. But at the end of the day, there's like no outsourced marketing team. I mean, that's why I say there's a lot of things you just have to do it yourself, even like sales, right? Because a lot of people think, oh man, like marketing is the big thing we need. We need more leads. And it's like, you might not even have a leads issue. You might just have a sales team issue that's not converting. So I would say there is no marketing team. You're going to have to do it yourself.
Yeah. So Britt, this is a question from Rachel. How can I learn the skills to rehab properties myself like you did?
I think starting small for one thing, it's like you have one project you want to do. So for me, for example, if I think back to tiling my first shower, I don't know how to do that, right? So I have to go on. I actually went on Instagram when I was first starting and I'm like, I need to find a professional. So I'd go on YouTube, like try get all the basics. And then I go to Instagram or whatever social media and find professionals who know exactly what they're doing and multiple people, and then ask them those questions and then take it kind of step by step because you don't know what you're doing. So you have to like take the action steps in order to move forward with it. So I'd go and ask these professional tilers or whoever it was, whatever project I was trying to do. And then I just learn by being hands-on. That's the best way I learn.
I love that. Okay, guys, I think, we're so many more questions, but we're going to go into breakout rooms. It's already 3 p.m. At this point, I would say we have a super fun breakout room session because what we did is we actually named the rooms. So there's a fix and flip room. There's a commercial investing room. There's a room that you get to go hang with Ryan Pineda. There's a room you get to go hang with Brittany. And then we also created like a lot of questions I got were based on lending and lending criteria and finding private money lenders, hard money lenders. So I got the entire team of certain lending here to come join the lending team, lending room. So if you have any questions on lending, go reach out to me and Albert and everybody in the lending room. So what we're going to do now is we're going to open out breakout rooms and you get to pick the room you want to go to. So instead of just randomly assigning you, you can actually pick the room. It's pretty awesome. Yeah, no, thank you both. Thank you both, Brittany and Ryan, for being here and, talking to our audience. And you guys really are so inspiring. And just from the amount of interaction we have and everybody that, has been here and all the questions we got, I can say that you added so much value and it just gives me so much joy to follow your journey. And I see the growth that happened in the last 2 years and I can't wait for everything that is yet to come. And I want to also say, if you guys are not following them, go follow them on IG. I saw another question here. Are either of you on LinkedIn? Do you see that as another like massive platform to help your growth? Ryan?
I think LinkedIn is great for the right purpose. I don't think you're going to be like LinkedIn famous. I don't think that's a thing, but I think you can definitely help your business for sure. If I was looking for money, I'd be looking on LinkedIn. If I was looking for some type of clients, I think it's great B2B for sure.
Yeah. Awesome. Couldn't agree more. I actually just started my LinkedIn page about a year ago and it helps me in a very different way. I'm able to think bigger deals. I'm able to find the people that are syndicating large multifamily assets. And that's often a little bit harder to come by when I'm on Instagram. But I guess it just depends on your end goal and what it is that you want to achieve. So, yep. All right. Ryan and Brittany, I'm going to leave it to you guys. Any parting words at all?
I'll let you go first, Britt.
Yeah, I think it's so great that you guys are all here and you're educating yourselves, and it's just taking those action steps. And I'm really excited for you. Get your social media on the go and keep moving forward with that. It took me a year to get to 1,000 followers on Instagram. So that's kind of some perspective for you. It doesn't just happen overnight. It takes a lot of time, a lot of kind of figuring out the direction you want to go in and trying different things, seeing what sticks, but keep with it.
Yeah, I think if, the theme is social media, Britt's definitely right. The stuff doesn't happen overnight. Same way. I've been making videos and stuff for years. And it's like, all right, now people think, oh, you're growing so fast. It's like, no, I've been doing this for years. I just didn't really know what I was doing all those years until now. And so it definitely doesn't happen overnight.
So true. I think we're ready to go. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to have 2 breakout room sessions. The first one, you're going to go pick your own room. And on the second one, it's just going to be random networking. So you're going to be with, I don't know who, but it'll be groups of 3s and 4s.
I should probably go in my own room. I get it.
You go in your own room, Brittany goes in her room, and I go in my room.